Welcome back to the A-List with Alexandra, where we break down all things Hollywood. With me today is best-selling author, life coach, and motivational speaker, Morgan Field.
Hello.
Morgan, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm super pumped to be here. Yeah. Woo!
So, you are all the things I listed above and so much more. So, I really want to get into your journey. How did you start this self-help, best-selling author journey?
Yeah, for me, it really started with being my own client, right? Like it was taking my own journey and discovering bits and pieces here and there that really helped me start to uncover puzzle pieces of life that allowed me to understand what true joy meant, what true fulfillment felt like. And then I feel like I looked around and I'm like, this is like the best kept secret. Happiness, joy, it's like the best kept secret. And I feel like society subconsciously teaches us or conditions us into believing that success is money or a title or acquiring things. And I started to realize like success is actually how much time you spend loving being you. Success is actually how much you really enjoy your life and you're fulfilled. And so then I started realizing like, okay, I want to share this with other people. And then I started going on the journey to find out how do I get to leave an imprint that will allow people to truly get to experience similar things.
Sometimes people either go the logic route where let me fix, what's going on with A, B, and C, and then they go the spiritual route, healing through, Reiki and psychics. But to have both together, I feel like that is powerful.
Yeah, yeah, and I also do Reiki and I play with energy healing and I watch spirit guides rewrite the not only the neural pathways that we have, but I watch them during sessions rewrite their energy frequency. And I also watch them rewire things and literally update and upgrade the cells, our cellular makeup. So it's a really neat, unique thing that I'm playing in or that I'm constantly being a conduit of creation for.
So, what is the ideal client for you?
Yeah, I mean it's someone who you have to be ready
Mhm,
for truth,
mhm.
right? Like I'm a seer. I see all of the layers of self. And so that means that I'm going to see the shadow. That means I'm going to see the ego layers that are getting in your way. That means that I'm going to see all of your soul gifts and I'm going to see your magic and I'm going to see your insecurities and I'm going to see the beauty and I'm going to see all of it,
Mhm.
right? So it's someone who's ready to be seen.
Right. You can't hide.
Yes, yes. And also that scares them and excites them simultaneously
Mhm. Yeah.
because then with truth, you're able to transcend.
I know it is hard to, number one, not take on others, but also if you're owning your own actions and you're securing yourself and you feel good about it, other people might perceive that as, uncaring, when in the fact you're just enlightened. You don't take things as personally, or you don't get as emotionally drawn into situations, and people might, I don't know, give you backlash. What do you think about that?
Um I find it humorous in some ways, right? That we are, and I use humor as a way to cut through it not being so painful, right? Because you get to choose what vibration you bring to something that you're interacting with. But what's interesting is our world is predominantly conditioned that when you step into divine confidence, like true confidence, knowing yourself, loving yourself, and to your point, not taking things personal, the world around you does get triggered and goes into this, well, who does she think she is?
Mhm.
Right. And so it takes a really it is practice. It takes a lot of practice to realize, like, oh, you're not mad at me, you're mad at yourself,
Mhm.
right? Like you're triggered because I have something that you want.
Right.
And so that's where working with someone else sometimes is the most beneficial thing that you could do because they're going to see the patterns where you're falling into the traps of allowing society to make you shrink.
it ever hard for you to follow the things you preach to others, or do you think it's such a part of you now that it just comes like second nature?
What's interesting, I actually have found, is the more that I have created these really divine structures to help support others, the more work I have to do to give myself permission to be human, actually.
Oh, that's
Right?
interesting.
Yeah, because the world starts to create a construct and an identity of who they perceive you to be.
Hmm.
And what something that I am currently working on is really giving myself permission to keep coming back to, yeah, but who am I as a human? Who am I as a human? Because yes, I'm a life coach. Yes, I'm a motivational speaker. Yes, I'm a writer, and I'm human, right? And so it's constantly giving myself permission to allow my humanness to get more and more airtime.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. A lot of people who post, on social media or you look up to be enlightened, spiritual, it looks like, okay, once I reach this, I'm going to be completely happy. I'm not going to have any bad days. I'm totally enlightened. And that's a great point. We're not seeing that. No, your people are still humans. These people who you look up to who are so enlightened, they're going to have, trips and falls throughout life. That's life. Things get hard, but if you have the right tools, it might be easier to cope, but it's not going to go away completely. And I do think that's something people forget when they're on this journey.
Yeah, the word that gave me chills that you use, and it's so on point, is cope,
Mhm.
right? Like I look back at me at the very beginning of my awakening,
Right.
where it was like sleepwalking and just not really being present to my life. And that feeling that woke me up was, man, there's got to be more to life than this. And as I started to wake up, I realized I had no coping mechanisms.
Mhm.
Right? So if you're sleepwalking, you're not actually actively participating in your life. And so to actively participate in your life, that means you do have to show up for the trips and the falls, the highs and the lows, right? You have to show up for all of it. Or you get to show up for all of it. It's a choice. And but yeah, I didn't have any coping mechanism. So that is the tools, the techniques, being a coach and holding the support conduit, all the programs, like everything I create, it is to help people have more coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
tools, to navigate through life. Because, yes, to your point, it makes it easier, but it doesn't make it perfect.
Right. One thing you touch upon in your books are compliments. And I know a lot of people do love compliments, but when I was reading it, it made me think, how many times has somebody complimented me? And, I've been flattered, but do I take it to heart? Do I believe it? No. And what you're saying is a person has to be able to not only accept the compliments, but believe it in order for them to change. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what the world thinks of you.
Right.
It matters what you think of you and you feel of you. Your quality of your life is in direct correlation to your thoughts,
Mhm.
your feelings about yourself,
Yeah.
right? And so if you catch yourself not taking a compliment, to get curious,
Hmm.
right? Like, oh, that's so interesting. Man, 3 people gave me compliments today and I didn't take it, or it made me feel a little weird. What's that all about? Again, just beginning to be your own friend, beginning to listen to yourself, beginning to have dialogue with yourself. Um, and also realizing that it's okay to like yourself and love yourself. So again, I mean, the world around us may shame us, or it's like more of a shame projection, right? Like if you don't love yourself, but you see that I love myself, that may piss you off a little bit. That may trigger you. And so I've learned over the time to just realize, like, and this is a practice, and I still sometimes I still have to practice this, right?
Yeah.
It's that's theirs, it's not mine. It's theirs, it's not mine. It's theirs and not mine, right? Because I really do love who I am, and I really do love the life that I've created, and I really like myself.
Right.
And yeah, I can feel how triggering that is for the world around us. So when I receive a compliment, as an example, there have been times where I openly receive it and then someone shames me for openly receiving it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I'm so confused. You gave me a compliment and then I took your compliment and I took it so gracefully and oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Like I agree that, whatever. Um, And then it's this thing of like, I can compliment you, but you can't agree with it. Whatever. It's basically don't let the world around you.
Compliment you and then see you be like, no, but it's not really how I am. They don't want to see you being confident in what they just complimented you. And that's, yeah, conundrum.
Yeah. But it'll also tell you a lot about the people around you in terms of how someone can receive. It often tells you a lot about how they feel about themselves,
Right.
right? And so it's just kind of curious. And so when someone doesn't take my compliment that I offer them, I'll say, "Don't you poo-poo on my compliment." And then they're like, "Oh, right, sorry, thank you." And so you can be playful with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch any of the Real Housewives or any reality TV, but I was watching a housewife reunion the other day, and what you touched on is very true. There was a cast member, and she seems very confident, and she says, "Look, I love myself. I'm happy with myself." And the reaction from the other women were like, "Yeah, we know you love your," like, so mad, so angry that and they were changing it to saying, she's conceited. And that's not at all. She was so confident. She said, "I love who I am. I love myself." And you had all these women being like, "Yeah, we get it. You love yourself. You're like, we know." And that's a great point. A lot of times, other women or other people are going to be mad. You're not being arrogant. You're not being conceited, but you're confident. And self love is what everyone preaches, correct? So why would we get mad when we see someone doing it?
Which is an awesome question to genuinely ask yourself when you are triggered. Actually, one of the things that created such alchemy in my own life was when I realized that the energy of jealousy was literally just me admiring something massively in someone else.
Mhm.
And when I realized that, and I just got goosebumps, like when I realized that this was probably like 8 years ago, I was like, oh my God, this changes everything.
Right.
Because now when I experience that energy of seeing someone, now I'm in a space where I can see a woman's beauty and realize like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. I love what you're doing. And I can really queen her up
Yeah.
without it taking anything from me. But when you're just experiencing jealousy without allowing it to be a self-reflective tool of what it can teach you to expand you of what it is that you truly desire in life or what you admire or what you'd like to be more of. I mean, it's a beautiful tool actually if you feel it. But if you're just stuck in the allowing it to take you down, all that means is that you're looking at what someone else has and allowing it to mean something about you.
Right.
It
That's so.
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, if you spend all of your time being jealous or being resentful towards someone, you're actually doing yourself a disservice because at the end of the day, you're never going to be that person. You're never going to live their life. But if you want the things they have or, you inspire to be like that, you can do that in your own life. So if you use the tool of jealousy to grow yourself and really make your life better, I think that's really hard to do though, but I think it's a great message.
Yeah, it's practice, right?
Right.
That's why I was like, oh, sometimes I was like, no, I still, it's like it's understanding our neurolinguistics, like the words that come out of our mouth tell on us, right? And I'm very aware of the words come out of my mouth. So sometimes when I go to lie to myself, I like stop myself. I'm like, no, 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 I'm still working on it, right? But it's practice. And even just having that new option or paradigm to view jealousy with,
Mhm.
it's going to allow people to go, huh, okay, well, hold on, right? And that's what's really fun about the work that I do is it's introducing new concepts, new energy, new paradigms, new perspectives into the world that will allow you to shock your system a little bit the next time you go to do the old pattern.
Yeah.
You'll be in it and then go, oh shit, I heard that interview and Morgan said jealousy is actually because there's something about this person I admire.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. The fact that you're even thinking about these things sets you up for greatness. I mean, that's brings me to my next question because a lot of people want to start a self-help journey, but it can be so overwhelming with books and podcasts and everyone has different styles and advice, so you never know what to do, where to start. So what do you recommend for starting this journey?
Yeah, it's such an intimate experience. The Give yourself permission to really honor what you're pulled to.
Mhm.
Like feel the vibration of the book that you're reading. I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but if I'm your cup of tea, you're going to fucking love me,
Right.
right?
Right.
And because you'll feel the vibration and go, oh my God, it's like there's so much about what she's saying that really resonates with me. I love her energy. And then there are other people that are going to be like, no,
Yeah.
right? Like spirit, what the heck? No, that's weird. I don't care, right? It's my job in the world to just be me
Mhm.
and then allow whoever's drawn to the lighthouse to come. And so I would say the same thing when you go to start your own journey is to really give yourself permission to feel who you're pulled to and start where you are. And so the first vision I get is like go to the bookstore, or now, we're kind of in the digital realms, right? But and
Yeah, Kindle.
yeah, well, I love like a tangible book. There's something about like a tangible book that's so yummy to me. But to go and actually just like read. So if you're, digitally browsing, you you just kind of see the covers and then like kind of pop and read the different things, but really give yourself permission to say what feels like, what am I really pulled to? And then at any point, if you're like 10 pages in or you're listening to a podcast or you're watching a video and it doesn't feel good to you,
Right.
go to something else. Like what I watch a lot of people do is I watch them, well, everyone else is reading this book, so this must be good, so I should read this. And then they're reading it and it's not really resonating with them, or it makes them feel even more shitty,
Mhm.
right? Or it's bringing up more shame or what have you. It's like, okay, meet yourself where you're at, right? Same thing is life coaching. I see some people come into the space of life coaching when really therapy would be their best start. Or I see people go into therapy and life coaching would be their best start. So I would just say, be honest with how you feel
Mhm.
and make sure that you're interacting with content and people that are holding space for you that actually feels really good to you.
We are living in a very unusual and unique time with the pandemic. And how do you personally stay focused on long term goals during the pandemic when so much is uncertain?
I feel like in the work that I do, I've built a pretty good relationship with the unknown.
Mhm.
So uncertainty doesn't freak me out and send me running.
Right.
In fact, I've conditioned myself to typically lean towards it and be excited for it, which is what the books that I write and the programs that I create and the work that I do, it is to help people build a relationship with uncertainty and the unknown that actually becomes an adventure and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's having a lot of grace and love and compassion for yourself
Mhm.
during a time that is so raw,
Right.
right? Energetically, this process of what the world is experiencing right now, it slowed everyone down.
Mhm.
So we're having to face things that otherwise maybe we didn't see, feel, or experience because we were go, go, go. Um, and so it feels like an opportunity so for me, right, it was like giving myself even more grace for being human.
And I feel personally, and what I've seen in others throughout the pandemic, one thing that I've really learned, I think, is gratefulness. I think now more than ever, I've really become more grateful for even myself and my own health and everything I do have. And I think that's something that was really, I see that. And now, even to this day, things are opening up back to the hustle and the bustle. And I still am using that gratefulness to guide me through. And I think that's such an incredible thing to learn and to really practice because we do have a lot to be grateful for.
Woo, girl, goosebumps. Yes, gratitude
Yeah.
is the single most potent vibration to pull you out of the darkness, the shadow, um, when you're spiraling, when you're right, which is what in a collective, it's what's happening, and it's all in service, but it can be a lot and it can be heavy, right? But yes, gratitude. It's like stop and pause and look around and what's the beauty, what are you grateful for. One of the exercises I hear a lot of spirit guides offer to their humans inside of one-on-one sessions is just sit in your home and go one by one by one by one and look at every single thing and find gratitude in it.
Is there one thing that you want people who read your books or the clients you work with? Is there one specific thing that you really, if anything, you want them to walk away with on this journey?
Yeah, the answers are inside you,
Mhm.
right? And so I just wish people knew how powerful they were, how magical they are, how beautiful they are, how loved they are, how special they are. As a seer, I see the layers of soul gifts and their magic and their beauty, and I've never met a human or an animal or a being in general that wasn't magical and lovable. And so everything I do is with the intention to help people have more faith in themselves and have more love in themselves and have more fun. Like, not take it so serious,
Yeah.
because yeah, like, it's this really gets to be whatever you want it to be.
Mhm.
And whatever you're tuning into is what the world is going to show you, which is why if you're tuning into gratitude, you tend to find more things to be grateful for. And so it's helping people realize, like, just put your focus on loving yourself. Put your focus on I'm magical. Put your focus on things that you actually want to experience. And just helping people see where energy could be invested in ways that are you get a good return on your investment, instead of just throwing your energy out the window and not getting anything back for it.
I love that. That's incredible. Now, Morgan, how can people get in touch with you if they're interested in your services and want to explore further?
So you could go to Instagram. I'm at Epic Sexy You. So EPICSEXYYOU. That's the name of the first book. And I'm actually in the process of a redesign for the website. So I have two that are both being built or rebuilt. One is www.epicsexyu.com, and the other one is themorganfield.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Morgan. It was such a pleasure speaking with you today.
Oh, you too, sister. You're just such a beautiful, bright light, and I appreciate connecting. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.